Alright, before we say goodnight, we're going to take this all the way back to Kabale. Abachika Murio.
Thank you so much, viewers on Real Impact TV Kabale. Caroline Amara is my name, and today in our studios we have with us a very interesting person who we're going to get to see shortly, that is going to introduce himself to us. So comment, like, make sure you are subscribed to all our YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram channels for all your latest news, updates, entertainment, lifestyle. We are here to serve you. So, thank you so much for making time to be with us today.
It's a pleasure.
So, you know, people out there, you know, they've seen you, we know you're a performer, you're an artist, a musician, but I want us to go back in your formative years when you started, or right before even starting your career as a musician. Where did you go to school? Who is Joe?
Who is Joe?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so right now most people call me Kahiri.
Okay, who is Kahiri?
Kahiri is, I was born Joseph Ngundu Kahiri Mbanyi. My dad is the late Dr. Kahiri Mbanyi. He served in Kabale town for very, very many years. So a lot of people who grew up here in that era, he was their doctor. And I grew up in a family of 7. Have 3 brothers, 3 sisters. And my mom grew up on Makanga Hill. So I pretty much grew up here playing in Kabale town, did everything from here until about S4. So when I got to my S4, then that was when I left. I studied at Kabale Preparatory School, I was at Chigezi High School, I was in Nentare. I was here for for most of that time. Then when I reached S4, then I moved to Kampala to live with my mom, who was living there at the time. I lost my dad in my S3, so that's what made us move. Yeah. So that's basically how, that was that part of growing up in Kabale that I had. Then I left here. I studied in Nentare for my S5. I went to Johannesburg. I studied multimedia for 3 years. Yeah. Then after that, then I came back. So when I was in Kampala, I started a graphic design business. I'm a graphic designer, I'm an artist.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have many hats. Lately I'm a farmer. Yeah, but so at that time I did, I had a graphic design company that I ran for 3 years. Then I started a band called Kwela, which I mean, most people have heard about Kwela. Yeah, so I've done the band thing for about 15 years or so. I closed my graphic design company when the band got too busy. So I've done that. I've had my own songs. I've done stuff with the band as well. So that's me. The Puli name is mostly from Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not my real name.
I thought it was.
No, and a lot of people, when they see it, they start to greet me in Rutoro, Nyoro, because they expect that I know. But so, actually what happened was I had gone to Fort Portal. It was my friend's wedding. I spent a week there. And so, of course, everybody, when they would greet, Ninyatoki, Nyakeki, no. So, I was like, guys, I'm starting to feel left out here, you know. So they told me Niwa Puli. I said, okay, great. So it started out as just a thing. I just changed my name on Facebook, Joe Apuli. Oh. Yeah, and then suddenly it caught on, you know. Then every time I did a newspaper article or anything, there was the Apuli, you know. So that was kind of stuck, and I don't mind it. I like it.
Okay.
I like it. It's just that sometimes it can create a bit of a different impression.
Yeah. He's that guy. People in Toronto might think you're one.
Which I don't have a problem with. I'm their guy, but then I would be lying if I said I was a Motoro or I had part. Some people think maybe I have part, but I'm 100% a Michigan. As far as I know, as far as all the grandfathers that I know. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, but I want you to dig deeper into like your childhood memories. You know, most artists or musicians, when you talk to them and they're talking about their journey and how they've grown or how they grew into becoming musicians, they talk of, oh, I used to sing in the choir when I was 3, then I was there in my room and singing, and then something happened. What was it for you?
Yeah, you know,
the moments that defined you and you knew that, yeah, you know, I have a thing for music.
Okay, I'll tell you a story.
I love stories.
There was a time I must have been in P2. I think I was in P2. So my dad, let me see what happened. So what happened was we had a career day or something like that at school. I was in Kawale Preparatory. So we were sitting there in the classroom, and you know, everybody's talking about ambition. I didn't even know that word. I'd never heard the word ambition in my life. I'm in P2.
P2. How do you hear about ambition?
To this day, I still wonder to myself, when did people have this talk about ambition? Because me, I had ambition. What the hell? So the teacher asked everybody, you know, what's your ambition? So I'm hearing kids going on about, my ambition is to be a teacher, my ambition to be a policeman, my ambition is to be a lawyer. It's like, what? So I was, you know, teacher, I'm sorry, I'm not quite following. Like, what's this ambition thing? I think your ambition is like what you want to be, like, you know, like, do you want to be a policeman or a doctor? Or you probably want to be a doctor like your dad. It's like, yeah, not particularly. I mean, it's not like a thing I've thought about. The truth is, I was one of those kids who, first of all, it had never occurred to me that I'll grow up and I'll be a grown up, you know?
You thought you were going to stay.
Somehow the kid stage was there, that was it, and we were going to play football and go to school for the rest of our lives. So it was P2, at 7 years old. We were talking about ambitions in class. It was something to do with career days or something. What do you want to be when you grow up type of day. So of course the question was, what is your ambition? I had never heard of an ambition. I didn't know what the word meant, but kids were putting up their hand. Me, I want to be a doctor. Me, I want to be a what? I want to be a policeman. I want to be a prince. I want to be... I was like... So I asked, you know, what's an ambition? And they're like, you know, like what you want to be, what... And it had never occurred to me that I'll ever grow up. Like me, I thought life is about playing football, going to school, waiting for the parents to do something, you know. It never occurred to me that, okay, this is a process where I'm actually growing to become, you know, if you told me one day you'll be grown up, I'd be like, man, what? No. You know what I mean? One day you'll have a beard. What? No, you know. So it was a bit of a shock first, but then I couldn't think of anything that I want to be. So I told the teacher, you know what, I don't have an ambition. So my teacher told me, well, then you have a problem. So I went home, I told my dad, sit down, we have a problem. He said, what's the problem? I said, well, apparently I don't have an ambition. Oh, who told you don't have an ambition? Well, they listed all the ambitions in class, and none of them is my ambition. So then my dad was like, well, okay, don't you want to be a doctor like your dad? I was like, I mean, I could, I guess, I just never thought about it. He said, well, isn't there someone who you admire, like one of your uncles maybe, or somebody? Not really. Most grown-ups were boring to me at that time. You know, I had one uncle, but he was like the black sheep uncle. You know, he was like that guy who was like always playing around with boobs. But he was cool. He had a big afro. He had nice stunner shit. So I thought about him, but Yeah, but no, you know, I mean, like, yeah, he was cool because he bought chips and soda, and he drove a Volvo, you know, and he had an afro, and he always wore cool jeans. So my dad, so then my dad said, well, okay, maybe not among your uncles, but like, I don't know, have you seen in the newspapers, on TV? So we had a videotape. We had a videotape that had like music on it. It was, Michael Jackson was performing and Bob Marley. And I said, yeah, you know, like the other guy, like the guy who was singing on the TV. My dad was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, you know. It's like, so would you like to be a musician? I was like, yeah, but it's not an ambition. Said, no. So I think that moment, the time when for me a lot of things about life got sorted out, because my dad at that time just said, you know, it doesn't really matter what you do, it matters how you do it.
Okay.
It's like if you want to be a musician, just be the best musician you're going to be. Even if you wanted to be a garbage collector, if you do it and you do it your best, you're going to succeed.
True.
And so from that time on, my motto in life became find that thing which you can do best and do it your best, which is kind of what my dad told me at that time. And so that's kind of that's what already set gearing me towards a more artistic direction in life. I mean, I was good at many things. I was actually, funny enough, I was good with math, I was good with like chemistry, physics, but I wasn't particularly interested. And also because now my sense of focus started gravitating towards the arts because of what my dad told me, and also because, you know, when you're growing up, your dad is like Superman.
Yeah.
You believe that this is the guy who knows everything in life. I felt like there was my dad, then Superman is like here. So when he told me, man, you know what? You can do anything you want to do, and you can, as long as you're good at it, you'll be successful. Like, it didn't matter what anybody else told me after that point.
Yeah.
My dad had said it, and that stamped it. And I think as early as that, I had already decided in my head that I want to be a musician.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's where like that thing came from. Yeah.
Okay. No, I love that. It's very interesting that most people will tell you I used to love singing, but yours is it's very different.
I mean, I used to love singing.
Oh,
I used to love singing. I used to play. So there was a guy who lived. Okay, I'd seen different examples of music. There's a guy who I think most people grew up in Kampala. There's a guy called Ishmael. He used to ride a Honda motorbike and he had a guitar. That was the first time in my life I had someone playing a guitar, and I was enchanted. But my first instrument I used to play enanga. And there was a guy, actually I still meet him. He plays a kadingidi, but he was playing enanga at that time. And I remember, so he was looking after goats. Just above there's Kabale Nursing Home, so we're just below Kabale Nursing Home. And then there was a field, and so that field was kind of cut in half, and on this side he was in the field with the goats, and he was singing, because singing was making music. So I remember me and my little sisters, we were pressed on the fence like this, you know, just looking at this guy. So the guy, hey, man, you're singing, we love that. So then he came, he started singing for us, teaching us. And he was the one that cultivated. So we had the nanga at home, it was hung up as a decoration. Most homes in Kahiri had that. So I took it down, I took it to him, he tuned it, started showed me a few things. But then I remember there was a guy, he was called Hilary Biakwaga. He was son to Sister Helen, who was staying just down the road. And he used to play the nanga very well. So he taught me some song which is very, very vulgar. I didn't know what it meant. Me, I was like, you know, so the guy taught me the song, I learned it, I caught the lyrics, I started playing. So my dad, I remember there was a bit of a gathering. My dad would have his friends around, they'd be drinking tea.
Oh my
So
God.
I'll buy the microphone, like singing, come and show them. I pulled it out. The song is called, it's called what? Katima.
Will you sing along? Imagine it's the audience.
I mean, I'm trying to think if I can actually. Yeah, no, it's a bit PG. It's a bit PG.
PG, give us the PG. Let's laugh.
No, okay, there's like a part which goes Katima, Katima, Katima Kamagara, Katima, Katima, Katima Kamagara. Echaracha Magono.
Oh my God, Joe, come on.
It's basically about getting, taking a girl to the plantation.
Oh.
Yeah, so there was that one. Then there's another song, Chinyi Chomurofa. No. Anyway, it was like, yeah, no. But there are those songs. So me, I opened. My dad's friends are sitting around. I started singing. And they're looking. So me, I thought to myself, I must be killing it, man. Because all the guys are looking at me like, where did you learn that one from? I was, Hillary taught me. This is another one. I started again. So my dad's okay, thank you. My mom took me aside. Please never sing that song again. So much. Anyway, yeah, that was.
Oh my God.
So that was my first instrument, and I played the nanga as my first instrument. Yeah, that was my first, and I think my first guitar teacher was Elisha Rukanga To. Yeah, taught me my first chords. So that's how I started.
Wow. Very interesting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a bit where you talked about you being a nerd in school, you know, like we've all been in school. You, the stubborn one, nerd but stubborn, do you have times where you were just away from school?
Okay, I had seasons. I was a bit of a nerd. I was that kid who had a hard time fitting in with other kids. Because sometimes I just wasn't interested. Sometimes I wasn't, like for example, I wasn't very good with sports, for example. So during football, I liked to play football, but I wasn't very good. A lot of one of the things, I was relegated to the goal, which is like the fat kid who can't run is always relegated to the goal post. So I was that kid, I was in the goal. But because of that, sometimes, and then there were some kids who, like that Hillary was very, very, he was a real troll, like, kids can tease in not nice ways. There was another guy, Frank Bushuyu baptized me Kahiri.
Wow.
And it was not a nice name. Kahiri is like somebody with like like people who have like a head and then like part of it doesn't fit properly on the rest of the head. I don't know why he called me that, but there was a guy who was in town who kind of had a funny head, and he was called Kahiri. He started it and it stuck, and guys called me that. Actually, it got to the point where sometimes I would even respond. But so kids were a bit unruly, and that used to bother me.
Okay.
And so sometimes I would find it hard to fit in, like when they're trying to do group things, you're trying to jump in with the rest of the guys, and the guy, hey, Kahiri. I'm like, so immediately I'm cut off from the rest of the group, So there was a bit of that. There was also the bit that I was more artistically inclined.
Okay.
So while guys are busy cracking and I'm drawing pictures on my books and whatever. I'm a very good artist, by the way. I draw, I sketch, I'm a cartoonist. I do a lot of that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of that. So then I would end up either hanging out with older people who are more sane and would converse about stuff. I remember Beverly Piden, the one who gave me the guitar, was actually a good friend of mine. She was a professional artist. She had a studio at home. So I used to go and we would hang around and I would paint, while she's painting. She would let me draw on some of the paper using different types of pens and stuff, and that really fascinated me. So I was that kid. But then I would say that I had phases where my personality would change. I had a phase where I experimented with, alcohol, drugs, babes. I wasn't very good with babes because I was very shy. Yeah, so I guess you could say that kind of kept me safe in high school. Okay, so there was this thing that just happened in high school. If any of my high school friends are watching, please forgive me, but there was a thing that just happened in high school where, like, you, as a guy, you had to have done a babe, like, to get credibility. Like, you had to have had some. And I didn't get some.
Okay.
From anyone, because I was too shy to ask. There was a babe I had a crush on, but I never used to, like, I didn't have that guts, you know? So the only other thing was to make up stories, you know? Like, hey man, yeah, you know, I got some, what. Even if you are like with a babe around the corner for like 2 minutes, just be like, man, you guy, you don't want to know what happened around that corner. Man, it was hot, it was messed up, you guy. It's kind of like that, just to make yourself feel. But the truth is I was too shy, and that kept me away from girls, mostly. I didn't really score ever in high school. Some people find, some of the people I was hanging around with might be finding this out, but I started. I remember, I think it was S3. I experimented quite a lot with drinking.
How did that go?
It went interestingly. I had my first experience with alcohol. It was so my friends, we had like, there was a daytime dance at school, right? And I don't remember what you used to call it, but you pay. I think we were paying 5K. You pay 5K, you enter. Guys told me, man, kawaraji. So when I knew now guys are going to drink kawaraji, I also thought, let me also go and drink some kawaraji. So I went, I put in, I think, 1 glass of waraji. We went, we danced, we did whatever. I wasn't quite sure how to process what I was feeling, but I knew I was a bit out of myself, right? So I get back home. So it was me and my dad at home. We put food on the table. It was a normal thing every day. After supper time, they would serve and they would say, oh, supper is ready. Then I would go and sit. My dad would sit across the table, then we'd serve, right? So somehow, I mean, with a dish there, you're supposed to use the ladle, put on your plate, eat. I skipped the part of of picking the plate, so I just pick the ladle, then I serve. And I'm like, wait, I've missed something, right? My meat is already on the tablecloth, like it's soaking in like this. I look up, my dad is looking at me like this. I was like, my dad looks at me, he's looking at me for a long time, or at least it felt like a long time. Maybe I was just drunk, but it felt like a long time. So I thought maybe let me try and explain myself.
I know. How can you get yourself out of?
So I started talking. I got very tired. My dad just gave me really gave me properly. I didn't eat supper that day. I slept. That was my very, very first time I drank, My dad discovered, I guess he also smelled it. Maybe it was a thing where he had smelled it, but he was like, no, my boy can't be, So also that was a time when me and my dad were not talking very much because I was angry with him.
Okay.
I was in Mwiri for S1 and S2, Busoga College Mwiri, which used to give me a chance to at least go to Kampala, go to Jinja, at least once in a term, and then come back. And then, so my dad forced me to change schools, to go to Chigeza High School.
Why is that?
I didn't know, well, so here's the thing. Okay, there's a story about how that happened. Now when I think about it, 2 things happened. One is my brothers had started getting a bit naughty also, like they were drinking, what. Me, I was the kid who, I never touched alcohol. I never touched a cigarette. In fact, I would despise those kids who used to do those things. That was my S1 and S2. But I had this friend who was an Itesot kid. He was called Isaac Okirima. We were like best friends.
Okay.
Isaac apparently was getting thrifty with one of the teacher's daughters. I didn't know, but he told me this guy is my uncle. I usually just go and visit.
Okay.
So we go and visit at this guy's place. And there was like a girl there, hi, she serves us some tea, what, we sit down. The guy tells me, no, it's come on, you sit, let's have some chai, what, I usually come here, we watch Indian movies. So, I sit down, we're watching Indian movies, then of course we finished, we watched the movie, what, the guy went, they whispered with this girl in the corner. Then we went back to the dormitories. As we're walking back, we meet her dad and a couple of other teachers. We were sitting around the Malwa pot. We greet them normally. We go. Now, eventually, this guy found out that this guy was hobnobbing with his daughter. But I think from the way it was told, they told him that it was me, not the other guy.
Oh.
So now the next thing, I'm being summoned to the deputy headmaster's office. The guy, you were, I don't know, you jumped over the fence, you went into teachers, whatever, you started vibing their daughters. I was like, guys, I went to visit this guy's uncle with him. It's like, yes. Then you reached there, and then how did the daughter come in? I was like, man, I barely spoke to her. She came, she put down chai, we had chai, we went. Guys were like, no, you're lying, you're trying to seduce the teacher's daughters, you what, you're not even repentant, you don't even want to confess your things, what? So one of the prefects told me, you know what, if you want to get out of this trouble, you confess.
Admit it.
Say what they're saying, you write it down and you say, I'm sorry and I'll never do it again. And they will chill. So I did. And that's what they took to the deputy headmaster's office. So of course the deputy headmaster saw a confession written in my own handwriting saying I'm sorry for vibing the teacher's daughter and whatever, I'll never do it again. So for him he was just like, what? This kid is now vibing our daughters. So of course, suspend. But it was a suspension at the end of the term, so I didn't tell my dad. But somehow he found out during the holidays. So when he found out, he was like, you know what? You're not going to do this from those ends. So then he changed me from Mwiri to Chigeza High School. The other thing that I found out later was that my dad was terminally ill at that time, but I didn't know. So anyway, that's what happened. So of course when he changed me, I said that's unfair. You know those things are lies. How can you believe those guys? I didn't do anything. Like, no, but you confessed. It's like, yeah, but I confessed because I was being pressured too, but I did nothing. So now my dad of course was like, what? I don't know, it seems you started drinking, you started smoking, you joined those groups. Now for me, I felt like that was betrayal because me and my dad had been tight. And I thought he would know that I'm not that kind of kid because I used to even despise other kids who do that. So to piss him off, I decided to become that kind of kid. So that's kind of how it started. So that time I wasn't talking to him, I was what, and then as soon as the chance to catch a pint came, I started immediately, you know. So there was a bit of running battles between me and my dad for most of my S3. To the point that I even missed the signs that he was sick, you know. He was coughing, his voice had gone. I didn't really think about it much, you know. So then at the end of the year was when they tried to take him out of the country for treatment, and then he died. Yeah, but anyway, so that's how it happened. Yeah.
Very interesting. You know, as you spoke, I could tell that you were not the kind alcohol, and then the story how you started drinking, but it makes sense from what you just said.
Yeah.
And then you speak so fondly of your dad, so fondly.
Yeah.
Must have been hard.
So my dad was, first of all, when we were kids, my dad was a hard guy. He was hard. Like, when I know my dad was the kind of dad, when he would come home, everybody would just scatter. You know,
those ones where you go under the bed.
You go under the bed, you hide in your room, everybody makes themselves busy somewhere else. You know, the house becomes quiet. So I think I was in I can't remember which class I was in. Anyway, there was a family, an American family, they're called the Cullens. They were renting the house that my dad owns. And And I remember one day, Mr. Cullen came to pick his kid from school, and so they tell me, jump in and we'll go with you, and then your dad will pick you up from our place. I said, yeah, sure, why not? I'm going with Bazungus. So then I sit in the back, this kid sits on this side, his dad sits down, we start driving. Then the guy asks his dad, so Dad, how was your day? It was fun. Yeah, this guys who came did this, and I was like, what? This guy can just ask his dad like straight up, how was your day? Like, I knew that if you sit in dad's presence, silence, shut up, don't talk. So I was like, that's very strange, how come? So they talk, then then he asks him, so how was your day? Oh, there's this teacher who did this, and one of the guys, oh, by the way, Joe does this, and the other guy plays football well, all the way home. I was like, that's strange. So I decided to try it with my dad.
Okay.
So when we got home, I remember, so my dad got home. Now my dad would come sit in the sitting room, he had his glasses, put them on, open the newspaper, he'd switch on his car radio. So I timed him, he sat down, put on his glasses, opened the newspaper, switched on the car radio. So I came and sat, so he looked at me. And I was like, so Dad, how was your day?
Wow, that was...
So he looked at me, then he closed the newspaper, switched off the radio, and I was like, it was a good day. How was your day? So I started, I was like, this is my cue. The other guy plays football, the other teacher did this, they beat the other guy, Mr. Gorogoro, she's not a good woman because I just opened all my covers in.
Wow.
And for some weird reason it worked. Like my dad was so thrilled, So he started laughing, talking, he told me about his day. And then from that day, I think almost till the time, the last I knew him, even when I wasn't talking to him, he'd still call me, Joe, how was your day? Of course at that time I just said it was fine. Okay, school was good? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but from that time, there was like as soon as he stepped home, Joe, I was the one kid that you always used to call Joe. So because of that, I guess we grew very close. I grew very close. Primary school to about S1, S2 there. I was very, very close with my dad. S3, we started drifting apart because of that. Yeah, because I insisted I was going to be that crazy kid, be like the crazy kids. And he was trying not to have any of that, but I couldn't give a hoot, So we had a lot of fights during my S3 time, but up until that point, I was very, very close with my dad. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. I know, so many times we look back and you're like, if there's one thing I would have changed or what, is there like that time in regard to you and your dad's relationship?
Yeah, pretty much about everything in life, I feel. I don't know if that's how everybody feels.
Okay.
But there are a lot of things that I have spectacularly messed up. I wish I had understood more how my dad felt about some of those things, so I would have changed that. I would have not spent all that time trying to prove a point to my dad, But then when I look back, I don't think that knowing what I knew, unless I could have a way of having a grown-up mind at that time, but at that time that was my way of understanding the world. At that time I had been attacked and I had to fight back, and so my dad was
an instinct.
Yeah.
We want to fight back.
Yeah. So of course I wish that I wouldn't have spent that year, because I'm sure it must have hurt him a lot, especially when he was going to leave. I'll tell you that one of the things I was happy about in that year was that he couldn't talk, because his voice went, so he could only whisper. So when he'd come home, he'd be like, Joe, Joe. And I would hear him, but because I'm like, yeah, so I would pretend.
Like you can't hear him.
Yeah, if he really wanted me, he would come to my room. Joe, I need you to do this. So then I would, then I would go and do it. But then I would be like, yeah, at least you had to walk to my room, or whatever. So it was a weird time. And I didn't know that he was sick. So he had lung cancer. So when he when he passed on was only when, you know, they didn't tell us. Somehow, fun enough, they just told me, oh, this holidays you're going to...
That's how they do it? They never, like, especially when they think you're a kid.
I don't know, I wish they would have sat me down and told me, listen, this is a situation and your dad is going to walk out of this door and you may never see him. Because I didn't even say bye. Like the day he left, I think I left early to go to school and then I came back, he was gone. I was just like, yeah, you know, I'll see him some other time. Yeah, but I never saw him again.
We're still on Real Impact TV Kabale. Caroline Namara is my name. In the studios, we still have Joe with us. And now going into music.
Yes.
What is it about music that makes you passionate? Like you wake up every day and you're like, man.
I think that with music, the appeal, the biggest appeal was, for me, has always been mostly the ability to affect people, to change mindsets, to deliver a message in a way that people will love the message and hear it and sing it back and memorize it in that way. One of the biggest reasons why I thought Bob Marley was such a big deal, and Michael Jackson also to a big extent, was those two stuck out to me and were my childhood heroes because they sang about real things, issues affecting people, and you know, and when they did, people paid attention. So you knew, I mean, equality for all human beings regardless of their skin color, keeping our world and making it safe for everybody, making it a better world, looking after Mother Nature, all those kind of things. And you could see that then people took this message and not vibe with it. So even when you listen to my songs, I'm always singing about issues, about loving one another, about growing, about knowing who you are, about being proud of who you are.
Yeah.
I think the other appeal for me about music is the way it represents a culture. When you hear a song, it tells you about where this person is from and it represents them. And I think that a lot of times our voices as Africans don't get heard enough on a global stage. And so I love to do music and I want to do music because of that. When I was in S5 is when I kind of got saved when I was in S1. Then I vectored a bit. Actually, it was weird because I remember I told God, you know what, I haven't yet had fun.
Okay.
So I was like, let's make a deal. I'm going to go out, I'm going to have fun, then I'll be back.
How long did you ask for?
I don't know if I asked for a particular period of time, but I know that I kept renewing that contract for a little bit.
Okay.
Like, well, I'm still having fun. But in S5, I think after a whole series of things, my dad had died and I had gotten in a bit of trouble and stuff, and I think that prompted me more to take my spirituality and to take my salvation more seriously. And so at a conference, I just decided, you know, no, actually, this is what happened. I remember, so I arrived in S5 in Intare school, and of course guys knew me as, hey, another wrong guy has arrived, you know. Spent like a first weekend down at, was it All for One? Was it where? Caught a pint, played some pool, had vibed a bit with guys. So guys are like, yeah, this is another guy in the clique. But then I remember I was walking past a classroom and this guy was singing, and funny enough, they were practicing for SU. This guy actually turned out to be one of my best friends in life. He's called Dennis. He had written a song called what was it called? I just remember it. Singing, lately I've been thinking about my life. Could I ever get free from sin? Like my sins were building high. I couldn't carry them anymore. And somehow, like, these words just started like really piercing me. And I felt like, I was like, man, what am I doing with my life, you know? And I went back to my dorm and I thought about this thing. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to give my life back to Christ. So I went Now the CFDs used to go to the chapel to pray at lunchtime.
Okay.
So like as soon as I'd finish lunch, I'd go to the chapel. I didn't even go for lunch, I just went straight to the chapel. And I walked in and I just looked around, and all these saved guys were there, you know. So they looked at me, then they continued praying their things, shandering. Then the chairman of SU, like he was standing across, so he stopped, he looked at me, he was called Marvin. Marvin looks at me, so he walks straight to me. And he says, would you like to give your life to Christ? I said, yes. Are you sure? I said, yes. Can pray with you? I said, yes. And so that's how it happened. So we prayed together. And so then at that point, I gave my life to Christ. I got saved. And it affected me quite profoundly. And of course, as usual, that then translated into my music, because as soon as I felt like I had a change of life and I needed to say something, it just started coming out in all the songs that I was writing at that time. And I was part of a gospel group called Desert Streams I'm still part of it, it's just that we don't really do anything together anymore. One of the guys in the US, one of the guys is actually here in Kabale. Oh. Yeah, it's called Muji. So we did a lot. We used to sing ministry in schools, in what, even at our own schools, in churches, all through my S6 VAC, through my campus, shortly after campus, until people got married, got jobs, different places, became too busy.
Life happened.
Life caught up. So that was my first musical experience with like a group and performing and all of that. But also that's, for me, the appeal for music has always been I'm able to speak things to people in the way beyond just telling someone something. I can sing it, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now that you talk about that, so because I was actually going to ask why specifically you chose creating a band, because yes, you're a musician, but it's not like you're, how do they call it? I mean, I think it has its name, but you forming Kwela as a band, is it those high school years the years at Kahiri and you call them Desert what?
Desert Streams.
Desert Streams. Is that what affected your decision or informed your decision to now start your own other band and not become Joe, just like a solo performing artist and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think everything that I lived through brought me to that point. I always wanted to do a live performance. And I like it because it's live, because it's in the moment. You make the decision what you're going to say. It's almost like a tailor-made suit. You know, you arrive there. Everything affects your performance, from the weather to the way you arrived, to what you were thinking about yesterday, to what just happened this morning. You can make a song longer, you can make it shorter, you can decide what you're going to do. You're going to make it calm today, you're going to make it excited. You can respond to so it's a conversation.
Yeah.
It's not mechanical. And so I always wanted to do live music. I play instruments, I play the guitar, I've done traditional instruments as well. Like I said, I started out by playing inanga, and I've always been interested in them. So aside from the pleasure of it just sounds nice and feels good, for me it was a very logical choice, because I wanted to keep that freshness, that organicness. I wanted it to be authentic. And I wasn't so concerned about trying to be famous. I wasn't so concerned about trying to be rich.
Okay.
I was mostly concerned about what kind of an impact will I have. Also, the other thing is I wanted to do music in a way that it's clean and healthy, and it gives someone an entertaining alternative to just all this booty shaking, what, vulgar music that was there. Yeah, so for me it was a very logical choice. One of my longtime friends and also mentor is called Isaiah Katuma. He's a jazz musician. I remember attending his show and I was just like, what? I have to do this, you know? Yeah, so things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. So, yeah, I know you mentioned a little bit about it. I've talked about it a little bit, but I know viewers out there might know, or some might not know. But tell us more about Kwela Band. How did it come about? When did it start? The different performances, the stages you've been at. Take us there. I know I've seen some. Tell us more about Kwela.
So Kwela, I always say Kwela is the fresh Afrofusion sound of Uganda. What we set out to do was we wanted to do music that's authentic. It represents who we are, but it's also socially conscious. So it gives some good value apart from just music. It gives some good value with the lyrics, with the message. Someone listens to it and it makes them a better person, a whole person. And then of course we want it to be authentic. If someone is playing a guitar, let them play the guitar. Let them show that there's a reason why I'm the one on stage and you're the one sitting watching me. It's not just a matter of, it's not just something that, there was this misconception about musicians and where they got that whole MDD, Musiru Dala Dala thing, I keep telling people, no, it's Mugezi Dala Dala,
Not even music, dance and drama. Mugezi Dala Dala. All right.
Everybody. And you see, the thing is that the way music was being done was what created that impression. And so I wanted to change that. I wanted for people to appreciate that the guy who's standing on the stage is doing something which I can't do. And I think that we had gone through a stage where people made it look like any idiot can do this. And a lot of the times people who went to do music were people who couldn't do anything else. So I used to bump into people who are MDs of companies, who could sing, who could play, who are really good musicians, but they couldn't because they didn't want that association with, I wanted it to be respectable. So for me, going that direction helped me, is a more dignified way of presenting it. It's a way of showing people that this is a vocation. There's more to it than just get on the stage. I remember I went for a wedding where we were performing.
Okay.
And one of the guys came from the committees. These are the Kwela guys. Why do you charge us a lot of money? So why do you pay us a lot of money? For nothing. You're just here. You were enjoying yourselves. So you're enjoying yourselves, and we are feeding you, and then we also have to pay you. I don't see why we are paying you all this money. So I told him, well, I mean, first of all, that's very disrespectful of you to say, but then you think we're just here enjoying ourselves, like we couldn't stay home and enjoy ourselves from home. I mean, you guys could have enjoyed yourselves for yourselves and paid yourselves to enjoy yourselves instead of paying us. There's clearly a reason why you paid, So yeah, but it doesn't make sense. You charge a lot of money, and this is work of 2 hours. So I told him, you see, maybe let me educate you. This is not work of 2 hours. When you go to the doctor and you pay him, you're not paying him for the 1 minute you spend in there telling him what's wrong with you and the medicine is prescribing you. You're paying him because he knows he's spent time learning, practicing, and now your life is in his hands. In the same way, musicians spend time in rehearsals, practicing, growing this thing, writing music, throwing this out, picking out this, all of that, to thresh it out, such that at the end of the day you can put your event in our hands and know that it is safe. This guy look at me. So yeah, Mugezi Dala Dala, that's what we are,
That's true.
So for me it has been it's mostly crusading.
Oh, yeah.
Pushing the cause. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, but tell us more about Kwela. You're not telling us about this baby that you've grown into this amazing thing.
Okay. So I started out, I said, no, I'm going to represent my African culture. We pick out our rhythms, we play them very nicely. when we started out playing, the whole band thing, to be honest, like so, there was not really much happening. I mean, there was Afrigo was like Afrigo. Then there was Back Simba Waves, who also were, I mean, they did all like some night sports around and stuff. And then there was the odd thing happening here. It's like a Tuma there, Pragmo here. There's a lady called Susan Kerenen, I think. But live events was not really a thing. But I wanted it to be a thing. So we started out playing.
When was that?
2005, yeah, about 2005. So there was not really a lot happening on the band scene. So I went out to venues. I started trying to convince them, listen, we can give you live music. It will make your evenings different. People will come, they'll sit, they want to watch the bands, they'll start paying to watch the performers. Most venues didn't listen to me. I went to a place called, that time it was called Catch the Sun. It was owned by a Canadian lady. So I told her, listen, we can really liven up your thing, and people, it will become the hottest night spot here. So she said, okay, well, let's give it a try. No, she didn't actually, no. So here's what happened. So she was not convinced, but she wanted to see what it looked like, but couldn't see what it looked like because no venue was letting us play. So I told her, okay, I have a venue. I'll give you the address, you come on this day, you'll find us playing. She said, fine. So I gave her my home address.
Wow.
So then, when I got there, I told the guys, okay, listen, Tuesday evening, we have a rehearsal. It's from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we're also going to have some guests who will be watching us in our rehearsal. Oh, okay, cool. So now I set out a coffee table. I put it there, I put chairs. She came with her friend, so they sat down. The band was set up to rehearse. I told the guys, so these are our people, they're going to watch how we perform. So I set up the mic, started playing, served them some coffee, said, hi guys, welcome to the Kwela evening, hope you enjoy yourselves, We started singing songs, covers, we entertained them, they were feeling, yay. They started dancing, said, okay, thank you, good night. No, want more music. Said, yeah, you see the power of music now, right? So people are going to sit in your place and want to stay. And so she was convinced. So that's how we got our first gig. They're paying us very little money, but they had promised us that if the night grows bigger,
then the money
will come. We played there for a month, 2 months. For that little money. And the gig grew, people were there, it was packed, what. So then I went and said, It was called Kathy. I said, Kathy, now we are going to play for the real money we discussed, right? And she said, yeah, you know, you're right. This live music thing really makes things work, but then I found another band and they are willing to take less money than you guys and what? And it's like, yeah, but that was not the agreement. The agreement was we make the thing work, you pay us. So she said, yeah, but then it makes sense for me as a business person. I have to do what's right for my business. Anyway, basically she snaked us. I'm putting her out there also, wherever she is. If she ever watches this interview, she'll be like, this guy told on me. So
Good thing you just said, Kathy.
I've snitched her properly. She's a good person, by the way. I think she's just protecting her business, right? So they kicked us out. They brought in another band, they started playing, what, the night picked up, guys are playing. So we got a gig at Emin Pasha Hotel, which is where we played for, I don't know, 10 years or so. Yeah, we played there for a very long time until KCCA came and picked up our equipment because we were making noise.
Oh.
And that was the end of our relationship with Emin Pasha, because I felt like we were victimized for that, and yet we had a contract with the hotel. They should have booked the hotel instead. We got booked and ended up paying the price. They took our equipment. For like 6 months we didn't have equipment.
Oh my God.
You know, so that was hard. And so that's how that's how our deal with Emin Pasha ended. But I remember, so we started playing Emin Pasha. Oh, this was a funny part. So we started playing Emin Pasha, and Fridays at Emin Pasha became big. I mean, like people would come, like Friday evening by like 7 p.m. the place was, all the seats were booked. People would be sitting on the stairs in the garden, like standing on the balcony up there, like the whole place was filled up. And it was really great. It was so much fun. And so then I remember, so what happened was Kathy comes over on one of the Friday nights.
Okay, I love this.
Playing and we're jamming. Then I see Kathy there looking at us like this. I'm like, oh, Kathy is here. Hey, hi Kathy, everyone say hi Kathy. Yeah, she gave us our first gig. So of course she could see me being cheeky and all. When the band was finished, she came and said, so can I get you guys to come back and play at Catch the Sun? I'm like, yeah, of course, I mean, but now the price has doubled. It's like the original price, like now the next price has doubled. I was like, yes, it has doubled because now we are more valuable. We have a crowd, we don't need you, you need us. Okay, all right, can we start next week? I was like, oh. So I told the guys, yeah, listen guys, we have a gig next week. So we started playing Catch the Sun Tuesdays, Emin Pasha Fridays. Then I remember we were playing the Rouge Mondays, we were playing Catch the Sun Tuesdays, we were playing Fridays at Emin Pasha. In fact, there were times when we'd have a gig Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then Saturday we have like a wedding, something. Then Sunday we have like a gig, for like 3 weeks. I remember one of my friends just said, man, guys, I'm tired of this money and I'm tired of seeing you guys. Like, I need a break. So one of those days we just thought, guys, no guys, we need to take a break, so we are not playing, But it was fun and we made some money, we made a decent living. It was inspiring. So it was nice. So then we recorded our first album.
Okay.
Our first album was called Kidepo. Kidepo was great. Yeah, and then there was the whole thing of we wanted to do concerts, because I didn't want to just be some band that plays evenings, that plays. I wanted to be, as I told you, I wanted to have a message. I wanted people to listen to us and know us. I wanted to represent something authentic. So we decided. I remember the very first concert we had was, okay, before all of these gigs and places started happening, the very first concert we played was at Kembabazi Catering Center in Naguru, Kampala. So I remember I had been working. My mom used to call it my expensive hobby because I used to put all my money back into it. I was still staying in her house. So she was like, Vita zawora zitankahe. Umunyabandi ogwanje, umunyabandi. So, but every money you get, you buy a microphone, you buy a cable, you get this, that. So I decided we were going to do a concert. That time concerts were not really charging a lot of money. So, but we decided no, for us, because we put effort in our thing, we're going to charge. So we charged 25K, which was a lot of money at that time. And I remember telling my friends were like, 25K, we'll come. I'm going to come, I'll bring my family, I'll bring my friends. So I knew we have a full house. This was before Kwela was Kwela. So I put out my posters, what. I remember I even went to NTV. They told me, you pay 500K, we'll run for you an ad. So I got my 500, I gave them.
You were counting on your people for the concert.
I was like, guys, man, we are going to do this thing. I remember I borrowed money to get the rehearsals done. I really put myself out there. Come the day of the concert, perfect weather, everything, sound checked, sound was perfect, what. I had already promised Erina, who was the owner of Kimbawas, I told her, listen, tonight, as in, you better cook a lot of meat.
Oh my God.
That we waited for people, we waited. 3 people showed up. 2 of them had won the tickets for free on some radio program which I had featured on. Only 1 person actually bought a ticket and came.
1.
Like even my sisters didn't show up. Like my uncle showed up. He showed up after the show was done. I have an uncle, the late Manzi Tumgwine was my uncle. I was my dad's friend, so we kind of became relatives. Like I don't know if we are.
You could be.
Could be. We went from the same village, but he was like my mentor. He used to advise me. So he used to tell me, hey, but this music you're doing, it's not like the popular music. Why don't you first do the popular music, you get the money, then you can do whatever you want. I would tell him, man, but no, also there's a thing that I want to do, I want to build myself. Anyway, so he also came here. He bought a ticket, but he came after the gig. So after the gig, I still had to pay the band, I had to pay for the sound, I had to pay for the lights, I had to pay for it. We still played. For the 3 people who came, we played.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Yes, we played the show. I mean, we had already gotten there. There was no way of, I had already had the equipment, I was still going to pay for it. I already had the lighting, I was still going to pay for it. I already had the venue, I was still going to pay for it. So there was no point. So I paid everybody. I was in debt, about 11 million, I think, in debt after that concert. I was depressed. I went back home. I thought about my life very hard. I was lucky that most of the money was owed to Manzi Tumumbwine. He used to loan out money, but he gave me like a interest-free loan. So it really helped me a lot. But I remember after that experience going back home, and I just closed the door, and I just wanted to stay in there and not ever come out. I used to play computer games. I was dating some girl. So she used to come. She'd be like, "Will I bring you some food?" I'm like, "Yeah, if you want." Okay. I mean, can I help one way or the other? She'd be like, "Man, just leave me alone for now." But actually, funny enough, she ended up being the person who pulled me out of it, because she found proposals that I had written, like for sponsorship, different venues, She took them without my permission, without me knowing. She took them and she just mailed them to everybody whom they had been addressed to. And we got a response. She took it. She talked to the guys at Watoto. They gave us a venue for free, on condition that for the other things, we were contributing to the building fund and all of that. But they allowed us to use the venue, they allowed us instruments, everything. And then she set up what was our second concert. Oh. Susano set it up. Oh. And she came back to me with the papers and said, listen, we have everything we need for our second show. So why don't we do it? So I looked at the things, I was a bit pissed off that she had gone behind my back, but again, I could see the reason why. Yeah. So I went, called up the guys, like, guys, let's give this another shot. So of course, once the rehearsal started, I got back into the thing, and that second concert was really successful. It was like a full house. Okay, people were paying very little money, but it was very good for the morale. So we played, it was great, guys played very well, it was a good reception, everything. So now we picked up again from there. So now from there is when all that story of Catch the Sun built up, which was then building up to, because that was 2006. 2006 was the Kemba Bazi show, then 2007 was that Watoto show. And after 2007, we went for a period, and then we decided to do a show at the Serena. I remember Isaiah invited me to watch his show at the Serena. And man, I mean, I saw the setup, I saw the lights, I said, you know what, I have to do this thing. So after he finished setting up his and doing it, and I saw how it went, I also set up. Said, guys, we are going to do a show at the Serena. Serena, yes. Okay. So we started 2010. I remember we ran around looking for sponsorship. Eventually got some sponsorship from New Vision. They had promised to give us money. They didn't give us money. They just gave us media, but which really helped us a lot still. I remember I went out and I took a step of faith and I paid for 10 billboards in Kampala. Wow. I had a friend who was working with I had a friend who was working with an outdoor advertising company. So we talked. He said, no, I'll give you easy payment terms. I said, okay. So we went out, we didn't have the money. We ordered for the billboards, printed them. Next thing, Kampala town just had like Kwela. So guys all of a sudden, who are these Kwela guys? Well, there's some kids from somewhere, you know. So there was that Kabozi, we made friends with some of the guys in the newspapers, Edgar Bate from the Monitor, Kalunji Kabuye from New Vision, so they interviewed us. So there was like a buzz, people are saying, who are these Kwela guys? Who are these Kwela guys? Wow. Talk to our friends, the Morris Kirias, Benon Mkumbias, like, listen guys, we have a concert, can you come and feature? Yeah, okay, we'll come and feature. So we set up this thing, we rehearsed. I remember the day of the show, I was so nervous because as in if it had ended up being like the one we had done, I would have died properly. So I remember we're in the dressing room, then one of the guys we were performing with is called Solomon. Solomon goes out, then he comes back in, you guys, I'm like, what? Oh my God, there's like a traffic jam outside. It's like, yeah, we always have traffic jam. No, like there's a traffic jam like coming inside here, like it's just cars, and like there's a line. What? So we went out to check, man, there was a line of people buying tickets.
It's okay.
It was a good, I mean, that time it was 50K, which now looks cheap, but at that time it was one of the most expensive concerts. Like full house, man, packed. Hey, I remember we came out, we played our hearts out, man. That concert was something else. It was, I remember like the newspapers talked about it for like 2 weeks. People was like, who are these Kwela guys? How did they do it? We had such good media. And to the point some guy called me and said, so how are you guys doing your media? Like how are you paying these guys to? I said, no, actually I've never paid anyone in the media ever. But somehow they've written, and they wrote and they put out articles and everything. And I remember, so funny enough, we had spent so much money that we had never estimated how much it would take to actually put up a concert. So we actually came out of that concert still in debt, funny enough. But that was because we had spent more than we expected to spend, more than the actual budget. But the excitement and everything, I guess that's all what led into it. But when we came out of that, because of the profile that we'd built, the gigs that came after that and all of that, we managed to clear off that debt. I remember I don't remember how long it took, but I remember like Steve Jean, after the show, Steve Jean came and said, hey, concert ya Kabinyo. Like he looked at me like he was annoyed. That's why I thought he was going to tell me something. Concert ya Kabinyo. Hey, okay. So we sat, we talked. I remember we hadn't paid him all his money, and usually he's not a guy who takes that lightly. But then the time he said, no, okay, we are still working, so let's move on. So we did that show. We did another one 2011. We did another one in 2012. We did like a series of concerts at the Emin Pasha. We did another one in 2013 at Serena. Then we started now like doing Serena concerts. We did they were called Aquila Junction concerts, where we'd have like artists come and join us on stage. So we had all the Maddox, Rachel Magola, Maurice Kiria, Benon Mugumbia, Nava Gure. Like we just have Isaiah Katumas, Moses Matov, the Frigo people. Like people would get together, and it was really fun. It was really great. And I don't know if there's been quite a concert experience like that since, because even when I meet people now, they just tell me, man, that Kwela Junction thing was something else.
It was something. It is something. I hope it's going to still happen.
Well, now COVID kind of.
After.
Yeah. But after, yeah. Actually, there is a way that we are remodeling it to be able to package the Kwela Junction content into something else. But yeah, even that is still in the plan of picking it up again. But so, I mean, I remember how exciting those years were. Like, it was really, really an exciting time. We had a good time. We were pulling off Serena concert. Like a lot of people weren't daring yet to pull off Serena concerts. We were just churning them out, like one after another. Eventually, it was like the concert venue that people wanted to go to. But for us, it was a lot of fun. So that's kind of been the Kwela journey. We recorded a second album. I think it was 2013.
Okay.
We put it out. There was a lot of excitement about it. That's where the one which had that Jean Coutuari. That song was it was a game changer song.
It was.
Shortly after that, we got invited to the very first Coke studio. We were the group that represented Uganda there. Like artists from all over Africa. There was Salif Keita. I remember Salif Keita because it's like also one of my idols. But it was like star-studded, and we were the first group from Uganda to go there. It was really nice. I remember we arrived at Nairobi airport and they picked us up in like a convoy of cars. It was like, whoa, okay, dude, we've arrived, man. This is it. This is the air up there. So we did that. We played Sauti za Busara Festival in Zanzibar.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you get to Zanzibar? Was it someone?
We wrote to them.
Oh.
Yeah, we wrote to them, said, hey, we're Kwela. You have this really nice festival. We would like to be part of it. So then a few months later, actually we wrote to them twice. The first time we wrote, they just said that they've received many applications like that. But then we wrote again second time and they were like, yeah, I think we'd really like to have you guys there. I think the first time we wrote, we were like nobodies, but then our luck was changing very dramatically every year, So I think after that, those were not like social media days yet. So mostly it was like news. Yeah. So check like the New Vision website, maybe you Google and then it's like Kwela. Yeah. So all of a sudden it was like, oh man, these chaps are not easy. So there we were, so that was also fun. So yeah, we are working on another album.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kwela has always been like that springboard because we've had different musicians come, join us, leave, join us again, leave.
Because that's what I wanted to ask. Like, from the time it was birthed, has it been the same people or?
Like every year, at least one person will change. Yeah, but then like someone comes in, they catch the culture, our fans kind of know how to jump in and also massage the thing and make it just grow.
Okay.
So like then so someone joins, someone leaves, someone joins, someone leaves.
So do you usually have like someone pending there saying, I want to join Kwela, and then you're like, hold on.
Yes.
And when someone drops out, you're like, okay, come in. Is that how it happens?
That's not how it happens, but we always have someone pending. Like there's always people who are like, yeah, like I would really love to sing with you guys. Mm-hmm. Sometimes just through like a Facebook page or a Twitter page or Instagram or Mostly, yeah. Sometimes someone get my phone number or our manager's phone number, which is Daniel, be like, hey, I'm this kind of person. Mostly it's singers, but of which we are, the band is already complete as it is right now. But then every once in a while, someone wants to go solo. I'm not somebody who believes in holding on to people, because you never know what you may be stopping the person from doing, and also you just never know what you may be holding on to, you know. But every time someone leaves, somehow there's always someone who steps in and like just at the right time and to pick up, and usually someone with equal talent, you know. So mostly I really believe that my entire journey with Kwela has been guided spiritually, not just I mean, I don't know how someone would have had just like plain luck all the time, you know what I mean? Because a lot of the things I really feel were just favor or good luck, as some people would call it, but then pretty consistently, you know. So for me, I've felt like it's been guided, yeah.
That's a lovely journey to, you know, hear about Kembabazi and how it has all grown to the Serena becoming your go-to place for concerts.
Yeah.
It's lovely hearing about all that. And you know, like you said earlier, how now MDDs mugezi dada dada. Tell us about your creative process when you are writing music, when you're getting ready for performances. Do you have rituals you go through? What do you do as Joe or as Kwela, as a band before performances, or when you're writing your music?
I've never really been a rituals person. I really like to be spontaneous.
Okay.
So for example, when I'm writing a song, it will usually be I'm touched by a particular situation, and then suddenly I'm in that place where the words and the music just come to me. Sometimes for no particular reason, sometimes you're sleeping and a tune just says, you know, let's work, you know, and then you can't sleep anymore, so you get up, you start writing. In the middle of the night I start playing my guitar, singing things, and until I do that I can't sleep again. So that sometimes happens. So most of my creative process is very, very spontaneous.
Okay.
I had an interesting experience. So Oliver Mtukuzi was playing in Kampala, and we were on the same stage, right?
Okay.
So then they were doing a security sweep, so they kicked us all out. Even him, they kicked him out. No, what? So of course we found ourselves outside the door, and I'm standing here as Oliver Mtukuzi. So I thought to myself, wow, this is like a superstar, international celeb. I should ask him something or have a profound moment.
Yeah.
So I asked him what you've asked me. I asked him, so like, what's your process like before you get on stage? Like, do you need to, because he was there standing, but very quiet. He was an interesting guy, because much as he was jolly and everything, he would seem reserved when like he's not people that he didn't know or something. So he was just standing there quietly. So I said hi, introduced myself. Then I asked him, what's your process? How do you prepare yourself before you get on stage? What do you tell yourself to psych yourself? Yeah. And he told me, I just don't. I don't psych myself. I said, well, so said, you know, if you play the music that you love to play, you don't ever have to psych yourself. So I said, when you see me on stage having a good time, I'm not psyching myself, I'm having a good time, you know.
Good one.
And I said, so how do you like write your songs in a particular order? I said, no. I sing the songs that I want to sing at that time. So I'll sing one song, I feel another song, I start it. The band knows what I'm going to play once I start playing. I was like, wow, you know, and for me that was a very profound moment.
Must have been.
And I enjoyed it a lot because it appeals to me and my spontaneous side. I know there's a need for order, so of course rehearsals have to be on a certain time, certain day, you know what I mean, the gig is on a certain time, certain day, all of that. So there's a way, yeah, I schedule my rehearsals and all of that, but I leave a lot of room for let me feel my way through this thing and do what I really feel like doing. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, as throughout you've been talking about, I know you talked about Bob Marley, I know you are a big fan, such an inspiration for you.
Yeah.
Talked about other names.
Yeah.
So, if we could go deeper into that, are there, okay, they are there, but like, if you could lay them down, Bob Marley, what roles they play in your music journey, or what they've played if they are not anymore? Who inspire you? Are they musicians? I know some may not be. Like, do you have role models in this industry or outside the industry that have had such a huge impact on your journey?
It'll be funny, but I'll tell you, for example, some of my bandmates are people who inspire me.
Yeah, why would it be funny?
Because when you say who inspires you, people expect you to put like a big name, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But some of the people who inspire me are people whose names are not really known. And yet, there's some musicians, I'll tell you that there's some musicians out there who are incredible songwriters, incredible singers, amazing. But people don't know about them, and some of them even wish to keep it that way. Okay. There's a friend of mine, very good friend, amazing songwriter, amazing singer. He has a stack of songs, but he's never recorded any of his songs. Maybe he intends to at some point, I don't know. The one thing I know he didn't ever intend to do is stand up on stage and sing.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm just like, so all of this, it's like, yeah, I get it's a gifting, but it's not my passion. I don't feel like I want to be a performer ever, So there's people like those. But yeah, definitely Bob Marley. I really liked him because I liked his courage. I liked the fact that in a time when racism was an issue, he stood up and told guys, listen, this is nonsense. People should be regarded aside from their color and skin and ethnicity and all of that. I found that very inspiring, that he could do that, and that he could just be that balanced voice. Michael Jackson, somewhat, to be honest. I was fascinated with him for the first album of his that I had, the one with Thriller. After that, yeah, but mostly for him he was cool, he could dance, he could what, he knew how to put on a performance. And so that really inspires me. Some of his later work also inspired me, where he's talking about Mother Earth and taking care of Mother Earth and all of that. Who inspires me? There's people who have my role models in different areas. Some to do with finances, some to do with life in general, some to do with spirituality. So it's of course not all my role models are musicians, and even the musicians who I admire and I find inspiring, weird enough, my music hardly sounds like them. Yeah, and some of them are not that well known, like some of the musicians from here in Kawale, like Elisha Rukanga, like Ndabaho. I think I found that people call him Chakushara, but I don't know why. So he's a guy who goes, apparently you'll find him in bars, just like when people are gathered around drinking, he'll stop with his kadingidi and he'll play one or two songs. Yeah,
whenever he would play and finish, he would say, Chakushara. I think for me, my experience with him was he would play Chakushara.
Something like that, right? I haven't actually had that. But he was one of the first people I had like making music, and I was just like, whoa, and I was still a little kid. The one, he was looking after goats and the next thing, and he was singing, with this kadingidi. Yeah, now he's an old guy, but that time he was a young guy, and I was this high. So, guys like him, not very, I think in Kabale people know him, but otherwise not that well known, but yet he's one of the people who really inspired me. He's amazingly talented, I think, and I don't know why he's never made it to the superstardom that I thought he would. To me, he was obviously a star at that time, but I don't know. Things fall in different places for people.
Probably that's how he wanted it. We would never know. I don't know. Do you know?
No, I don't really. I know that he loves the kashera quite a bit, so maybe that also gets in his way.
Okay, that's so much. So earlier, when you were talking about school and going to Johannesburg, South Africa, you were doing graphics design.
I was doing multimedia. Multimedia is so you do different forms of media, make it work to produce one. So, I mean, I'm a bit ancient, and so at the time when I was studying multimedia, graphics was still a new thing, and people were still learning how to combine. So those days, it was a website, it was a CD-ROM, social media was not a big deal yet, and so combining pictures and sound and to make one presentation
was a big deal.
It was a big deal, and so I learned multimedia. I learned graphic design. I learned to do cinematography, photography. I did a little bit of audio. I did a little bit of photography, to be honest. I didn't do that much, and I haven't practiced it that much. I did 3D graphics, so we did the whole modeling things, animating them. I was very good with animation. I used to make like cartoons and whatever. It's good with sketching. So, but multimedia brings all those things together for you to be able to create one piece of media, regardless of what field you're working with. Yeah, and it's helped me greatly. I mean, a lot of the videos we worked on, a lot of the graphics for like posters and stuff also.
So you've been the one designing all those?
Not everything. Sometimes I have a brain jam and then I'll ask someone else to do it. But then a lot of the times I actually get down and do that stuff, yeah.
So thinking that before you did that multimedia, you were already into music and all that. So as you pursued that career, were you looking at it coming in to help you in music, or were you trying to pursue it differently?
I was pursuing it differently. I needed, so I remember my deal with my mom was that I had to finish university. I had just wanted to finish my senior 4, jump into music straight away. She said, no, it's important for you to have some papers, so get some papers, do something. And I'm glad. I mean, like, during lockdown, my graphic design work is what kept me going. Because, I mean, I haven't been really, really doing music for almost 2 years now. We've done a little bit here and there, but nothing substantial, you know. So I'm glad that I did listen. But so the deal was go finish university. Then after university, decide what you want to do. So I went, I did that. I came back, and it actually helped me in that sense because I was then able to just build up my own graphics and stuff whenever I needed to do that.
Okay, I see. All right. So I think I have like 2 last ones.
Okay.
One being, you've heard so much. I know you're also into other businesses other than graphics and designing and being a musician. Tell us more about what other things you've ventured into, or maybe if I could ask it this way, what other interests or hobbies are other than your career now? What are they? I
mean, so I think you discover more about yourself. So for example, in the last 2 years, I started farming. I'm growing potatoes, I'm growing green peppers, this type of things. I'm working on sites, hospitality type of sites, geared at tourism, around Lake Bunyonyi and within Kabale. So I'm also doing that, which is fun. My dad was a doctor, but he was also a farmer. He liked farming and all of that. I think that I'm picking up on that. It's an entirely new field, but it's really fun. I write. I'm a writer. I've done some writing. Nothing notable. Not like I've written my own book. I started working on my own book like 10 years ago, maybe. Okay. And I've still never completed it.
That's progress in itself that you're always.
But I started, right? Right? Yeah.
It's a big step.
Yeah. So there's that. Aside from the music that I'm doing now, yeah.
Okay. Nice. So actually, that brings me to our. Like I want it to be our bangers. We wind up maybe one last one, but how? Of course, we know you've been in Kampala for how many years? I think since senior 4, you said. After senior 4, you left Kabale, went to Kampala.
Yeah.
And 2021 is when you come back. How did that come about? How did you come back to Kabale? And to finally say you want to settle here, is that so?
I've always wanted to settle here. I've always wanted to live in Kabale. I left here very grudgingly in my S4. My mom insisted I must go live with her in Kampala. She was staying in Kampala. My dad had died, so there's nobody here. But me, I wanted to live here. I kind of figured out my ecosystem, and there's just a certain vibration to Kabale that agrees with me. So when I had to leave, I left grudgingly, and I always told myself I would come back, right? But S5, S6, my S6 VAC, I was still under the instruction of my mom. I had to do what she wanted. So I kind of got used to life there. When I finished campus, I just plugged in straight. I started my graphic design company there and kicked off trying to make money chasing. And time passes and you don't realize how much time has passed. And eventually it just became the way of life, and I was like, you know what, maybe sometime I'll go back. Now, fast forward 2021, the pandemic and everything, 2020. And I'm trying to figure out what to do and everything. I came back to Kabale I just came to chill, take my mind off things for a little bit, not really with any major objective except to just come and chill. So I got here, I spent 3 days, and just as in when I arrived, all that old vibe just came back all of a sudden, and I could see the place and how full of opportunity it is, how vibrant it is. I was bumping into people. King moved here, Ruth moved here, Chos moved here. Like, I just kept finding my friends who were from back in the day who are now here, and man, they've been living here and they've been having a good time. I saw the space that I have here. My dad left a very good name here. People still know him to this day. I meet people, they will hug me, nkanenda kwebaza Kahiri mbanyikushata chali ho mgeno niwe, those kind of things. Like from people who dig, border guys, people stop their cars sometimes. So also that is very, very sentimental for me. So it was a no-brainer, let me put it that way. And then it kind of helped that gigs are on hold. So there's not too much to return to in Kampala. The rest I can do online. Every once in a while I'll have a gig, I'll get up, go, come back, chill, And then life here is so much, the quality of life is just so much better. So for me, when I came here, it didn't take long for me to make that decision. I came here, spent a few days, went back, packed up all my things, gave notice to my landlady, came back. And that was it. And that's, for me, that's it. Pretty much I'm here till, I don't know. Yeah. But that's I'm here because I really feel like I can make a contribution, and I've always wanted to. and I am here because I also feel that there's a lot of opportunity for me here. Yeah.
That's very nice. You know, so many people, we have a lot of brainwash, people with talent.
Yeah.
Everyone that's good at something is trying to run away, looking for greener pasture, looking for better opportunities. But to see people like you come back home, I think it should be like a cue to encourage other people.
To encourage other people. I believe many, because there are people who I keep talking to and they're like, man, so you're in Kabale, man, I've always wanted, you know what, I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to pack my things and come, you know. Once in a while someone will come. Other times, everybody has a different journey. Yeah, but for me, I'm so grateful to be in this place right now. Yeah, living the Kabale life. Yeah.
So as we sign up, I mean, our viewers would want to know what should they expect from you. Are there any? You talked about an album. When should they expect that? Any big projects? You talked about the potatoes. Are you going to be selling? Is it small scale? Where should we look for you? On Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube? How can we find you? How can we keep, in touch and not lose contact with you?
Okay, so first of all, how can we be in touch? I am on Facebook, I am on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube. I have a personal channel, Kahiri Music, so KAHIR MUSIC Music, Kahiri Music. On YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and then Kwela Music, QWELA Music, QWELA. You find us there. What can people expect? Well, first of all, like I said, we're doing a new Kwela album. I have a very interesting project that I'm working on. Which is, I'm calling it Chiga Blues.
Wow.
Chiga Blues is...
I'm excited.
So, we grew up listening to all this music with the Nanga and whatever, and also there's a way, like if you live, you know when they say Kugonje, it's like people are singing, drunk singing, right? But then, along the way, I fell in love with a form of music called the blues. And I did because I felt it had a lot of similarity with the rhythms from home. And I remember my mom, when I would be playing the blues, she would say, you know, and it's big music, you know, there's guys like B.B. King, Eric Clapton, all of that is blues music, you know. But then because I keep hearing the similarity, I thought to myself, why don't I try to marry the two styles of music? And so in doing so, I forgot to bring my guitar. I would have showed you. But in doing so, then I find that it kind of creates a style of music, and that's what I'm calling the Chiga Blues. And so me as Kahiri, I'm going to be recording that as an album, and hopefully it should be able to hit a note with my fans and with people who are generally interested with the Bachiga out there. So there's a lot more music coming. You know, farming is also a means of survival. It's my heritage as a Mchiga. It's something that I love to do when I'm here and I'm able to do it. So that's also there, but I don't, might not really be my most staple thing. You know, if I make lots of money, I'll do it on large scale. But for now, I'm trying it out. I'm experimenting. I want to see how the seasons work and all of that.
So thank you for making time out of your very busy schedule. You know, these times we are all up and down trying to make life happen with COVID.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
But for you having made time and being here, we're very appreciative. And thank you.
Yeah. Thank you also for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a pleasure having you come back with your guitar, perform for us. And before we roll out, maybe you could, you know, probably give us acapella a song, something, something, and yeah.
Okay. So one of the songs that I did that I thought did very, very well, actually reached #1 on some of the radio stations in Kampala. I don't know how it did here in Kabale because I haven't been here for a while, but I've been talking to some of my friends on the radio. Maybe we'll put it. Okay, but this song is called Ijank Tware. I'll just do like a piece of it, a small piece of it. So it goes like Ijan kutware, kutwaro witu, Ijan kutware, tuze kabare, Ija tujende, koreko witu, Ijan kutware, tuze chigezi, turye bihimba, turye chitakuri, tunyo bushera, tuze hanyanja. Hari bunyoni, Ijanko tware, tuze hiboroza, turoze hakaramba. Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Nice.
Ijanko tware.
Very nice.
Yeah.
No, I want you to do something. You remember that thing you released during this thing that you did with Kahiri? Is it called?
Oh, the Vibedemic? Yeah.
Can you sing a bit of that? My nephew likes it.
Oh yeah? The Vibedemic. The Vibedemic. Okay, so one of the songs of the Vibedemic, there's a song we did called Daima. And it's a story. I heard she lives on the other side of the city, so far away, in a place she could never see me. I heard she say, no one should ever tell me if I ask. How will I ever come back and say that I'm sorry after all I had and done? Somebody tell her that it's also been hard for me. I've been hiding my tears. Something like that.
Oh, nice. Yo, we have Joe Kahiri with us here in the studios. Thank you for watching Real Impact TV Kabale. What do you want to, as we sign out, do you want to maybe say hello to your fans or a heartfelt message to people in Kampala who have not come back home?
Definitely, I would like to give a big shout out to my Kwela family. How you guys doing? I'm looking forward to having Kwela here in Kabale. That is part of the plan.
Yes. Come on, you didn't tell us that plan. When? Okay. Yes.
Oh no, it is in plan, but it still needs to be planned. I'm talking to people, and looks like they're good responses, but also we have to be COVID sensitive and all of that. So there's all of that happening. But I would like to say hi to my Kwela family and all the Kwela fans out there and all the Kahiri fans. And a shout out to Real Impact TV.
Yay!
Thank you for having me. Thank you for being such a wonderful host, Karen Amara. And Tash on the camera, directing and telling us what not to say and what to do. I hope that you'll put a beep on some of the some of those things which are not family friendly, and Hillary as well, and King somewhere out there making everything happen. So thank you guys. Oh, and also go to my channel and check out my stuff, Kahiri Music.
Yes, Kahiri Music.
Over to you, madam.
Alright, thank you once again for being here, for making the time. We love having you. Please, anytime you have some time, check on us. We'll be happy to have you. And thank you for keeping it tuned at Real Impact TV Kabale. We are so happy that you are still tuned in. Please go look for us on Facebook. Make sure you like our page on Facebook. Go to Twitter, go to Instagram, go to YouTube, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure you don't miss anything. You're going to get the latest news, updates on sports, entertainment, edutainment, everything. Real Impact TV Kabale has got you. And if you are wondering where we are this afternoon, evening, we're at Safari Diners, Choma. Make sure you check out this place. Very wonderful, very hospitable, great meals. It's just opposite Beijahe shopping building. Make sure you check it out. It's in Kabale town. And of course, like always, behind our cameras, we have Tashobia Jacob, we have Hillary on the camera, we have James King Bajenzi doing his job, we have Wilbur. We have people there making sure everything happens and reaches you clear. So until next time, bye bye. God bless you.